Here is an explanation for the answer to final exam question number 75 in Alternative Energy Demystified, 2nd edition. If you have the printed book, please see page 327. We have several characteristics listed here in relation to large wind power-based electric generation systems. And all but one of them represents an advantage of such systems. So let's go through and look at this. Wind power plants do not directly pollute the environment. Well, that is true, and that's an advantage. So we can rule out question A because we're looking for the one that's not an advantage. How about B? Large wind turbines can be placed over the ocean as well as on land. Well, that's true, and that's another advantage. So we can rule out B. How about C? Wind is a renewable energy source and the supply is unlimited. Well, as far as the human species is concerned, the supply is unlimited. Maybe in several billion years, when the sun finally runs out of fuel and the earth is either gobbled up by the sun or the atmosphere is blown away by the heat of the sun, or everything just freezes, then that'll be the end of it. But it'll be a little while yet, and as far as the human race goes, the human species is concerned, wind is a renewable and unlimited energy source. Unlimited, I guess, if there were 1 trillion humans on the earth and they all had wind turbines. Well, once again, there has been some discussion, by the way, of if we put up too many of these wind turbines, whether it will affect the overall flow of the wind over the surface of the earth and the weather patterns in general. There has been some discussion of that, but choice C we can rule out from a practical standpoint. How about choice D? A single massive wind turbine can continuously supply all the power that a small community needs. Well, here's the hang-up right here. It may be able to supply all the power that a small community needs when the wind is blowing, but when the wind is not blowing, there really isn't much of a way to store that energy for any great length of time in enough quantity to supply a small community continuously. So the answer that we're looking for here is, in fact, choice D. How about choice E? Once installed, a large wind turbine is not particularly expensive to maintain. Well, that's true as long as we don't have something like a hurricane or a tornado that directly impacts that wind turbine. But even on the average, wind turbines are not terribly expensive to maintain. And as I am in the habit of doing, I will show you a simple block diagram of a large-scale wind power system. This is one of those great big wind turbines that you see in wind farms if you've driven through southern Minnesota, various parts of California. I've seen them near Saratoga, Wyoming. Actually, what's the name of that town? It's Hanna, Wyoming. Just east of Hanna, Wyoming, you'll find a pretty good sized wind farm that has a lot of these. Gearbox. The thing turns relatively slowly, as you may have noticed, these large things. But we need to be able to get 60 hertz AC from the electric generator, so it needs to turn at the correct speed. That's why we need this gearbox. Then 20 revolutions per minute is about 1 revolution every 3 seconds. So we need to gear that up quite a bit to get 60 cycles per second, or 50 cycles per second in some parts of the world. Then there is a transformer that steps up the voltage to the high tension utility lines, which then send it into the utility grid. So once again, the correct answer to this question is D. One of these things is a wonderful invention, but it can't continuously supply electricity.